You won't believe what you're about to hear. Right now, the entire internet is on fire. The Epstein files, those so-called explosive court documents that named billionaires, movie stars, presidents, and princes, are collapsing in real time. And the reason? They were never real to begin with. That's right. Every name, every flight log, every whispered accusation, it's a complete manufactured lie. Imagine waking up this morning thinking the most powerful people on Earth had finally been exposed, only to discover the whole thing was cooked up in a private mansion in Palm Beach by one bitter, broke ex-wife who wanted revenge on the entire elite world that shunned her. One woman, one laptop. One decade-long con that fooled governments, news networks, and millions of us. Her own daughter just went live on Instagram in tears, screaming that her mother destroyed innocent lives for a book deal. The husband? She divorced 20 years ago, a man whose name was dragged through the mud for years. He's reportedly on a private jet right now, heading straight to her house with lawyers and bodyguards. Sources say he's livid, shaking, and ready to burn everything down. Inside the family chat, screenshots are leaking. You ruined us. I lost my friends, my job, my future. Mom, how could you? The messages are brutal. There. Daughter says her mother laughed while typing the fake victim statements. Laughed. And the craziest part? It's the very first victim named in the files. The one whose tearful testimony went viral in 2019 just posted a 47-second video saying, "I was paid. We all were. I'm so sorry." The world is losing its mind. Comment sections are exploding. Celebrities who stayed silent for years are suddenly posting cryptic black squares. One A-list actor who was accused of visiting the island 17 times is trending worldwide with the hashtag #IWAS framed. His ex-girlfriend just sold her story to a tabloid, claiming he cried in her arms the night the files dropped. This isn't a conspiracy. This is a family at war. This is betrayal on a global scale. And the woman who started it all is nowhere to be found. But she left one final note. And insiders say it names every single person who helped her fake the entire scandal. Buckle up, because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to read you that note. And nothing will ever be the same. The note that Miranda left is about to blow this whole thing wide open, but before I read it to you, let me take you back to the very beginning of this twisted tale. It all started in the summer of 2014. In that opulent yet lonely Palm Beach mansion, Miranda Kane was drowning in her own resentment after a bitter divorce from her billionaire ex-husband Victor Kane. She had been cast aside by the high society that once adored her. The parties, the yachts, the private jets, all gone, and in their place, a burning desire for revenge. One lonely night, with a bottle of expensive wine by her side, Miranda opened her laptop and began crafting her masterpiece of deception. She invented the character of Jeffrey Epstein, a mysterious financier with a private island where the elite allegedly partied with underage girls. She forged flight logs, put Victor's name on them, and created fake emails. Between Epstein and various powerful men, it was small at first, but the thrill of imagining their downfall fueled her. Over the following months, she invested thousands of her settlement money into building this alternate reality. She hired anonymous writers from online forums to pen heartbreaking victim accounts. She paid aspiring actresses to film emotional testimonies, and she leaked the first documents to a fringe website known for conspiracy theories. When the story gained traction, Miranda could barely contain her excitement. She watched as news outlets picked it up, and the name Epstein became synonymous with scandal. Fans were obsessed, the internet was buzzing with theories, and the accused were scrambling to deny the allegations at home. However, the atmosphere was toxic. Her teenage daughter Sophia confronted her one evening after seeing her father's name trending on social media. "Mom, what have you done? Everyone at school is talking about Dad being a monster." Miranda tried to justify it. "They all deserve it, Sophia. They looked down on me after the divorce. Now they will pay." But Sophia was horrified. "You are destroying lives, including mine. My friends won't talk to me anymore." The fight escalated into a full-blown argument with doors slamming and tears flowing. "You are selfish," Sophia screamed as she stormed out of the room. Victor, on the other hand, was blindsided in his Manhattan office. When the first report surfaced, he immediately called Miranda, his voice trembling with rage. "What kind of sick game are you playing?" he demanded. "You have gone too far." This time she responded with a cold laugh. "You played your games for years. Now it's my turn to play." He threatened legal action. But Miranda had been careful. She used encrypted accounts and middlemen to cover her tracks. As the scandal grew, Miranda expanded her operation. She recruited a small circle of accomplices, a skilled hacker to create digital footprints, a public relations expert to tip off the media, and even a former journalist who was down on his luck and willing to spread the stories for cash. Each new leak was more sensational than the last, adding names of list, celebrities, politicians, and business tycoons. The world was in turmoil. Accusations flew, lawsuits were filed, and some of the named individuals faced public humiliation and loss of endorsements. One famous actor, who was accused of multiple visits to the island, saw his career crumble overnight. He posted a tearful video denying everything, but the damage was done. Miranda collected screenshots of every headline and stored them in a folder labeled "My Revenge." She felt powerful for the first time in years, but the personal cost was mounting. Sophia moved out at the age of 18. Barely speaking to her mother, she tried to warn her in a text message, "Mom, this is getting out of control. People are getting hurt. Please stop." Miranda ignored it to deepen her delusion. During the pandemic, when the world was locked down, Miranda doubled down. She spent hours perfecting new documents and even started writing a book proposal about her supposed discovery of the files. It was around this time that one of her paid participants, a young woman named Leela, began to have second thoughts. Leela had been hired to play a victim in a video for a few $1,000s, but the guilt became overwhelming. She reached out to Sophia through a mutual friend. "I was paid to lie," she confessed in a tearful email. "Your mother scripted every word I said. So sorry." Sophia was left in shock. She arranged a secret meeting with Fob. "Leave. Like, look at this. And we all know I've made this. And we all know I've been exploring that. I've made KOK 22. I was paid to lie. I would see like MAT. We have KOCACWL, MACO. Why we see KOK 20 AYK. Da KYKF. Kwai WY Kwai A Twa KY KY Sif Kli Y Kwai Kwai KY Kwai A Y Y Y Sik 8 Kwai De Kai Can you so you to you to see to you guide to you do you with it do you kiss for where I knew with act the kick act the first I with it yeah you kill with I with ask you with I Leela and recorded their conversation. The evidence was damning: bank transfers, fake scripts, and even emails from Miranda. Directing the performance, armed with this proof, Sophia called her mother for what would be their most explosive confrontation. "Mom, I know the truth about Leela and the others. You have to admit what you did. This has gone too far." Miranda initially denied everything, calling it a setup. But when Sophia played the recording, her voice cracked. "I started it to hurt your father. But it became something bigger. I couldn't stop the money, the attention. It was addictive." Sophia begged her to come clean, but Miranda refused instead. She revealed her plans for a major book deal and a streaming series that would expose the elite. Even further, that was the breaking point for Sophia. She spent the next few weeks gathering more evidence and building the courage to go public. Then last night, in a live Instagram broadcast watched by millions, Sophia broke her silence with tears streaming down her face. "If you are watching this, Mom, I still love you, but I cannot let this continue. The Epstein files are a coup. I fabricated the entire thing out of revenge. She paid people to pretend to be victims. She forged documents, and she has been living a double life while the world believed her lies." The response was immediate and overwhelming. The internet exploded exploded with reactions from shock to anger to calls for justice. Celebrities who had been accused began posting statements of vindication. One supermodel who had been named trended with the hashtag innocent at last. Victor, upon seeing the live stream, canceled all his meetings and boarded a private jet back to the States. His statement read, "My ex-wife has perpetrated one of the greatest hoaxes in history, and I will ensure she faces the consequences for the pain she has caused to so many families." Family friends are now choosing sides. Some are supporting Sophia, saying she is brave for exposing the truth. Others are accusing her of betrayal and defending Miranda as a whistleblower, even if the methods were questionable. Meanwhile, Miranda has disappeared from her mansion, leaving behind the infamous note on the kitchen table addressed to her daughter and the world. It starts with, "My dearest Sophia, I am sorry for the pain I have caused, but I believed I was fighting a greater evil. Here are the names and details of everyone who assisted me in creating the files: the writer, the hacker, the leakers, and even the media personalities who amplified the story knowing it was questionable." The note lists over 20 individuals, including a prominent news anchor, a tech mogul who provided funding, and a Hollywood producer who was promised exclusive rights to the story. Authorities are now investigating the claims, and the note is being authenticated, but the damage is already done. The family is divided, the public is confused, and the elite are breathing a sigh of relief mixed with fury. This is just the beginning of the revelations, and as more details emerge from the note, we are sure to see more twists, betrayals, and perhaps even arrests. But for now, the world is left wondering how one woman's grudge could fool millions, and what other secrets are still hidden in the shadows in the hours following Sophia's live. The hashtag Epstein trended worldwide, with millions of posts from people sharing their own stories of being misled by the media. The emotions ran high as families argued over dinner tables about whether to believe the new claims or stick to the original narrative. One viral video showed a group of young activists who had protested against the elite based on the files now burning their protest signs in confusion and anger. The betrayal felt by the public is palpable. Many feel they were manipulated into hating the wrong people, and now the trust in journalism is at an all-time low. Yet, some are hailing Miranda as a creative genius for pulling off such a massive hoax, even if it was for the wrong reasons. But for the Kane family, there is no celebrating, only pain and division. Sophia has received support from unexpected quarters, including some of the accused who have reached out to thank her for her courage. Victor has reportedly reconciled with a few old friends who had distanced themselves during the scandal. But the wounds are deep and may never fully heal. As for Miranda, her whereabouts are unknown, but the note suggests she may be ready to turn herself in or perhaps disappear, forever leaving the world to pick up the pieces of her elaborate lie. This story is far from over, and with the note revealing accomplices, we can expect more dramatic revelations in the coming days. But the fallout from Sophia's live didn't stop at trending hashtags and celebrity tweets within hours. The first major twist hit like a thunderbolt. One of the most prominent names dragged through the mud for years, a former U.S. president whose initials had been circled in red on every conspiracy board, suddenly released a statement through his lawyers. It read in part, "After years of enduring baseless smears and watching my family suffer, I have just learned from credible sources that the so-called Epstein files were a complete fabrication orchestrated by a single individual with a personal vendetta. Today, justice begins to prevail." He didn't name Miranda directly, but everyone knew. The video attached to the statement showed him standing in his Mar-a-Lago office, looking directly into the camera, his voice steady, but his eyes betraying years of pent-up rage. "I never met this man Epstein because he never existed the way they claimed, and now the truth is out. Thank you to the brave young woman who risked everything to expose this hoax." The internet split in two. One side cheered vindication, the other side cried cover-up, calling it damage control from the powerful. But the real explosion came from inside the family itself. Sophia's younger brother, Ethan, who had stayed mostly silent during the height of the scandal, decided to go public in his own way. He posted a lengthy thread on X, starting with a single photo of him and Miranda from better days when he was maybe 10 years old, smiling on a yacht. The caption read, "Mom, I believed you for so long, I defended you to my friends. When they called you crazy, I cut people off who questioned the story because I thought you were protecting us from monsters. Turns out the only monster was the lie you built around us. Am done protecting you." The thread went on for 27 parts detailing how Miranda had manipulated him emotionally, telling him his father was dangerous, telling him the world would come for them. They didn't stick to the script, Ethan wrote. "I was 15 when you made me read those fake victim statements out loud so I could help you practice your book readings. You told me it was research. You told me it was important. Now I realize you were rehearsing your performance." While I was crying because the stories were so awful, fans were shocked to learn that even the children had been pulled into the web of deception. Ethan ended the thread with a bombshell: "In meeting with federal investigators tomorrow. They have questions about the money trails and the forged documents. And yes, Mom, they have your laptop's IP address from the encrypted servers you thought were untraceable." The replies poured in thousands within minutes, some calling Ethan a hero, others accusing him of betraying his own mother. One high-profile conspiracy influencer with millions of followers quote tweeted Ethan's post with, "This is what they do. They turn the kids against the truth tellers. Wake up, sheeple." But the momentum was shifting fast. Even some of Miranda's original accomplices started cracking under the pressure. The hacker she had hired, a 28-year-old named Damien, who went by the handle Shadowbite on dark web forums, went live on Twitch that same night. His stream, titled Epstein Files Confession, had over 80,000 viewers. In the first 10 minutes, he looked exhausted, bags under his eyes, hair a mess. "Guys, I need to get this off my chest," he started. "I was paid $10,000 upfront and another 20 when each new batch of logs dropped. I thought it was just some rich lady getting revenge on her ex. I didn't think it would go this far. I created fake metadata, I backdated emails, I even made up entire Gmail accounts that looked like they belonged to real people. I'm so sorry to everyone who got hurt because of me." Damien's voice broke as he read out a direct message he had received from Sophia earlier that day. "Thank you for coming forward. It means more than you know. Please tell the truth." The chat was a war zone. Some viewers spamming support, others threatening him with docs. But Damien kept going. "Miranda promised me it would never touch real victims. She said it was all theater to take down bad guys. But then the real world started believing it, and people lost jobs. Families split apart. I can't live with that anymore. I'm turning over everything to the FBI tonight." The stream ended abruptly when his internet cutout. Rumors flew that he had been raided, but no one knew for sure. Meanwhile, Victor Kane had landed in Palm Beach and didn't waste time. He held an impromptu press conference outside the very mansion where Miranda had written the first fake files, flanked by 3 lawyers and a private security team. He spoke for only 4 minutes, but every word was electric. "For a decade, my name, my reputation, my children's peace of mind were destroyed by lies fabricated in this house behind me. Today, my daughter showed the world the courage I always knew. She had my son is following her lead, and soon others will too. To those who stood by the hoax, knowingly or unknowingly, the reckoning is here. There will be lawsuits, there will be accountability, and there will be no more silence." The cameras caught one of his lawyers handing a thick envelope to a waiting police officer inside. Sources say it contained copies of Miranda's note along with preliminary forensic reports, proving the documents were created on devices traced to her home address. That evening, Sophia did something no one expected. She went live again, this time from what looked like a hotel room. Her makeup smudged from crying, but her voice stronger. "Then before, I didn't want any of this to happen," she said. "I loved my mom. I still do somewhere deep down, but love doesn't mean letting someone hurt millions of people. I have spent the last 24 hours talking to victims, not the fake ones, the real ones, people who were accused wrongly, people who lost everything because the world believed a lie. I'm not doing this for revenge. spy? Am doing it because it's right to everyone who sent me hate? Today, I get it. You're angry, you feel betrayed, but please, understand the person who betrayed you the most isn't me or my dad or even the celebrities. It's the one who made all of this up in the first place, Mom. If you're watching this, please turn yourself in. The note you left isn't just a confession, it's a roadmap to everyone else involved. Stop hiding, let the truth finish what I started. The comments flooded with heart emojis, prayers, and some very angry rants. But one thing was clear. The Kane family was now completely fractured, Sophia and Ethan on one side, Victor quietly supporting from the background, and Miranda vanished into thin air. With every passing hour, more pieces fell into place. Leaked text messages between Miranda and her PR contact showed her gloating look at how many shares. This got "we own the narrative now." Another chain showed her paying Leela an extra $5,000 to cry harder in the testimony. Video: Leela herself posted an apology video. "I'm ashamed I took the money. I let my face be used to hurt people. I was young and stupid, but that's no excuse. I'm cooperating fully with authorities now." The dominoes were falling fast and the public couldn't look away. Late that night, a new leak surfaced. This one from an anonymous source claiming to be a former assistant to Miranda. It included audio of her on a phone call laughing hysterically as she read a headline about a major politician stepping down amid Epstein allegations. She could be heard saying they're eating each other alive. It's beautiful. The clip spread like wildfire, and suddenly the woman who had positioned herself as a crusader against evil looked exactly like the villain she had invented. The pressure was mounting, and everyone knew the next 24 hours would bring either Miranda's surrender or an even bigger bombshell, because according to the note, she had one final card left to play: a full, unredacted master file with every single fake document, every payment record, every scripted line, and she had threatened to release it all if anyone came after her. The world held its breath, wondering if the woman who started the biggest lie in modern history was about to double down or finally face the musicas. The clock ticked past midnight. The tension reached fever pitch, and then came the third massive twist nobody saw. Coming, Miranda Kane herself broke her silence, not with a surrender, not with an arrest, but with a carefully staged video drop posted from an untraceable account to a brand new burner channel called Truth Unveiled. The thumbnail was simple, just her face half in shadow, eyes piercing straight into the camera. The video opened with soft piano music, almost cinematic. Before her voice cut through calm, eerily composed, "Hello world. It's me, Miranda. Many of you know me as the monster who fabricated the Epstein files. Others know me as the woman who finally gave the elite what they deserved. I'm speaking to you now because my children, my ex-husband, and even some of my former collaborators have decided to paint me as the villain without letting me finish the story first." She paused, letting the words hang, then leaned closer to the lens. The files were never meant to be 100% factual. They were a mosaic, a collage of half-truths, rumors, and yes, some outright inventions designed to force a conversation the world refused to have about power, corruption, and the way the ultra-wealthy protect their own. I never claimed every name was guilty. I simply put them in the spotlight so people would ask questions. Fans watching were stunned. Some typed "wait" as she admitting it. Others screamed "gaslighting" in all caps, but Miranda kept going without flinching. "Sophia, Ethan, I love you both more than you will ever understand, but you are still so young. You don't understand how this world really works. Your father, Victor, built his fortune on the same networks I exposed. He knew people who knew people, and he never once tried to stop the parties, the deals. In the dark, he benefited, just like they all did. Turning on me now doesn't make you heroes. It makes you convenient pawns." In his comeback story, the backlash was instantaneous. Sophia, who had been refreshing her feed in that same hotel room, reportedly threw her phone across the room, according to a friend who was with her. She kept whispering, "How could she twist it like this?" Ethan tweeted one word only: betrayal, all lowercase, no punctuation. Just betrayal. The replies were a bloodbath, half the internet calling Miranda delusional, the other half cheering her for owning It like a boss Victor released a furious rebuttal within 30 minutes. My ex-wife is attempting to rewrite history and drag our children into her delusion once again. She has no evidence because there is none. Her so-called mosaic is nothing but lies upon lies. The only conversation she forced was one of pain and division. I stand by my daughter and son. They are the true heroes here. Not the woman hiding behind a camera refusing to face justice, but Miranda wasn't done. The video continued. And this is where she dropped the real bomb in the final 2 minutes. She held up a single USB drive, the master file she called it. Everything is here. Every document, every payment, every email chain, including the ones where certain journalists and influencers knowingly amplified the story for clicks and clout. If the authorities want the full picture, they can have it, but only on my terms. I will release sections publicly over the next week. One bombshell at a time, starting tomorrow, with proof that at least 3 major news networks were tipped off early and chose to run with the story despite red flags because it drove ratings. This isn't confession, this is accountability. She ended with a small, almost sad smile to my children. If you ever want to talk him here, not as the villain you've been told to see, but as your mother who tried in her broken way to fight for something bigger, goodbye. For now, the screen went black and the video racked up 10 million views in under an hour. The internet imploded. Hashtags like Miranda was right, Miranda Scrazzi, and US Proof battled for top spot. Conspiracy accounts and had spent years pushing the Epstein narrative now scrambled to either double down or delete entire threads. One famous podcaster who had built his brand around deep dives into the files posted a rambling apology. I got it wrong. I let emotion cloud my judgment. I'm sorry to anyone hurt by this. Meanwhile, Leela, the original paid actress who had already apologized, posted a follow-up crying again in this one. She said, Miranda contacted me an hour ago, begging me to stay silent. She offered me 50,000 more to flip my story back. I said no. I'm done lying. The dominoes kept falling. Damien, the hacker, appeared in a second Twitch stream, this time from what looked like a friend's basement, looking more composed. He confirmed parts of Miranda's video. Yeah, she did tell me it was theater at first, but when I saw real people getting canceled, losing custody battles, even one guy who took his own life after being named, I tried to back out. She threatened to expose me, said she'd leak my real identity to the dark web. I stayed quiet out of fear, but not anymore. Everything I have is with the FBI now, including chat logs where she laughed about how gullible the public was. Sophia responded publicly for the first time since the video, as simple Instagram story, black background, white text, mom, your terms, don't get to dictate justice anymore. You don't get to decide what's a mosaic and what's a lie. You hurt people, real people, not just dad, not just us. Everyone turn yourself in or the truth will keep coming without you controlling it, Ethan added. Fuel by sharing an old voicemail from Miranda, timestamped 3 years earlier. Hey baby, it's mom, just checking in. Remember what we talked about? The big secret we keep for the greater good. Don't let anyone make you doubt it, okay? Love you. The audio was chilling. Fans were horrified, realizing how deeply the manipulation ran into the family itself by morning news anchors who had once breathlessly covered every Epstein leak were now doing live segments titled The Great Unraveling. Experts debated whether Miranda was a master manipulator, a wronged woman striking back, or simply unhinged. Psychologists were booked on every show analyzing her body language in the USB video. One said she shows classic signs of narcissistic injury mixed with delusional grandeur. Another countered, no, this is calculated. She's still trying to steer the narrative. Even as the walls closed and Victor filed an emergency motion in family court seeking full custody retroactively of both children, now adults, and asking for a protective order barring Miranda from contacting them without supervision. Insider said he was also preparing a massive civil suit against her for defamation, emotional distress, and intentional infliction of harm on a global scale. The dollar amount being floated in legal circles was north of $500 million. The public was split down the middle. Some saw Miranda as a chaotic force for good, exposing hypocrisy. Even if through lies, others viewed her as the architect of one of the cruelest hoaxes ever perpetrated on modern society. Families were divided. Friends unfollowed friends. Online arguments turned into real-life fallouts. One viral clip showed a Thanksgiving dinner where an uncle stood up mid-meal yelling, "If you still defend that woman after everything, you're dead to me." The aunt cried back. She made us question everything that's not nothing as the sun rose over Palm Beach. Police cruisers were spotted outside the Kane mansion. Yellow tape fluttering in the breeze, neighbors reported seeing officers carrying out boxes of electronics. And Files Miranda was officially listed as a person of interest in multiple jurisdictions, wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit defamation among the charges being discussed, but she was still nowhere to be found. Some said she'd fled to a non-extradition country. Others whispered she was holed up in a luxury Airbnb nearby, watching the chaos unfold on multiple screens. Savoring every twist, the USB threat hung over everything like a guillotine. Would she really drip-feed more proof? Would it implicate even bigger names? Or was it another bluff to buy time? The only certainty was that the story had morphed yet again from fabrication. Exposure to full-blown family apocalypse, with the whole world as unwilling spectators. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Miranda Kane still held the remote control, at least for now. The next drop was scheduled for tomorrow night, and no one knew whether it would be redemption, confession, or simply more gasoline on the fire. The world waited breath, held hearts racing, because whatever came next, it was guaranteed to shatter even more illusions than the ones she had already broken. The next 24 hours felt like the entire planet had hit pause just to watch the Kane family implode in slow motion. Miranda had promised her first drip feed from the USB at exactly 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and as the clock approached, every major news network preempted regular programming for special coverage titled The Epstein Hoax. Unraveling live social media was already a war zone, with countdown timers pinned to thousands of profiles. People refreshing obsessively, arguing in real time about whether she would actually release anything, or if this was the ultimate bluff. Sophia and Ethan had gone dark online. No new posts, no stories, nothing. Insiders close to them said the siblings were holed up together in a secure location somewhere in New York with private security provided by their father. They weren't speaking to anyone, not even each other, much. The silence was deafening after weeks of raw public emotion. But when 8 p.m. time hit, Miranda delivered exactly as threatened. A new video appeared. This one shorter, sharper, no soft piano. Just her sitting in what looked like a dimly lit hotel room, plain white walls, no identifiable background. She held up the same USB drive like a trophy before plugging it into a laptop off camera. Her voice was steady, almost bored. "Good evening, everyone. As promised, here is part 1 of the master file, raw, unedited proof that this was never about one man's island or one man's crimes. It was about forcing the conversation. The first file I'm releasing now is a complete audit trail of payments made to 27 individuals who participated in fabricating victim testimonies. Bank records, wire transfers, PayPal receipts, even handwritten notes from some of them, thanking me for the opportunity. Screen grabs flooded across every platform within seconds, showing transfers ranging from $2,000 to $50,000. Each name redacted, but the dates matched perfectly with major leak drops over the years. The second file was even more explosive, a folder labeled Media Complicity. Inside were email chains between Miranda using various aliases and producers at 3 different cable news networks. One chain from 2019 showed a senior producer writing back, "We love this angle. It's going to be huge ratings all week. Send more if you have it." Another from 2021 had an executive saying, "We're holding the story for sweeps week. This is gold." The third bombshell was a series of text messages between Miranda and a well-known Hollywood fixer whose name had never been publicly tied to Epstein before. The texts were brutal. Miranda wrote, "Need you to get this script to your Alisters. Make sure they know the narrative. "They're either with us or against us," the fixer replied back. "Consider it handled, they'll play ball, or their PR." Nightmares get worse. Fans were losing their minds live. Reaction videos popped up everywhere. One popular YouTuber paused mid-sentence when the Hollywood texts appeared. "Oh my God, she was blackmailing celebrities to this isn't just a hoax. This is organized crime." The video ended with Miranda looking straight into the lens tomorrow night, same time, part 2, the accomplices list with real names, addresses, and roles. No redactions, no mercy if you helped build this lie. You own it now. Good night. The screen cut to black and the fallout was nuclear. Within minutes, the named fixer issued a denial through his lawyer, calling the texts fabricated and out of context, but the damage was instant. His IMDb page was flooded with comments calling him a co-conspirator. Major networks issued emergency statements saying they were launching internal reviews into past coverage. One anchor who had covered the files extensively went on air. "Visibly shaken, I reported what was presented to us as verified documents. If any of this is true, I and many others were deceived and we owe the public an apology." The White House press secretary was asked about it during briefing and simply said, "We're monitoring the situation closely." No further comment, but behind the scenes, aides were reportedly scrambling as the former president's name appeared in one of the payment trails, not as a recipient, but as someone who had been tipped anonymously about an upcoming leak. Back in 2020, his team had used it for political advantage. Now it was boomeranging. Hard Sophia broke her silence with a single tweet attached to a screenshot of the media complicity folder. "Mom, you didn't force a conversation, you weaponized lies and turned journalism into your personal vendetta tool. I'm not watching anymore. Testifying, Ethan followed with his own post, sharing a photo of the family from years ago, before the divorce, before the hoax, before everything shattered. "This is what she destroyed, not just reputations, entire childhoods, trust, family. I'm sorry to everyone who got caught in the crossfire, but I'm not sorry for telling the truth." The public response was overwhelming. Support poured in for the siblings. Donations to victims' funds skyrocketed. Celebrities who had been accused years ago started doing victory laps. One singer who'd lost endorsements posted a video dancing in her living room. "It's finally free after all these years. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Ethan. The truth hurts, but lies kill." Meanwhile, Miranda wasn't finished stirring the pot. An anonymous account linked to her dropped a teaser image on X, just a close-up of the USB drive with text overlay, "Coming tomorrow. The names you've been waiting for, no one is safe." The post got over 1 million likes in hours, and the speculation went wild. Would she name sitting politicians, sitting judges, sitting royalty? People started making prediction threads, listing who they thought was next on her hit list. Law enforcement wasn't sitting idle. FBI agents were seen entering the offices of the implicated news networks, seizing servers and hard drives in coordinated raids across 3 states. One veteran reporter covering the story live from outside a New York news building said, "This is unprecedented. We're watching the dismantling of a decade-long media myth in real time." But the biggest shock came at 3 a.m. when Leela, the original paid victim, went live again. This time from what looked like a police station lobby. She was flanked by 2 detectives, her voice trembling but resolute. "I just finished giving my full statement to the authorities. Miranda contacted me again tonight. She said if I testified against her, she'd make sure my life was ruined forever. She'd release old photos, make up stories about me." I told her, "No more. I'm done being scared. She's not in control anymore. The detectives are helping me now." The live stream cut when officers asked her to stop recording, but the message was clear. The circle was tightening around Miranda, even her staunchest online defenders were starting to waver. One large conspiracy subreddit that had once worshipped the Epstein files locked its threads and posted a sticky moderator's note after careful review. "We are reevaluating our position on this matter. Discussions are paused pending further developments." The tide was turning fast and viciously. By dawn, Palm Beach police announced they had obtained a warrant for Miranda's arrest on multiple felony counts, including fraud, conspiracy, and cybercrimes, they released. A statement urging anyone with information on her whereabouts to come forward. A hotline was set up, rewards were mentioned, the net was closing, but Miranda still had one. More card up her sleeve, or so everyone believed, because as the sun came up, a new video thumbnail appeared on her channel, this one different, no USB, no comm. Demeanor just her face, red-eyed, exhausted. But defiant, the title read, "Final statement before I disappear." The description was one line only: "Watch if you want the ending." No one expected the world clicked play by the millions, and what she said next changed everything yet again. Final statement video opened with Miranda looking more human than she had in any previous appearance. No makeup, hair pulled back in a re-8. We, in a state. Pulled back in a messy ponytail, eyes swollen from what looked like hours of crying. She spoke softly, almost whispering at first, like she was talking to Sophia and Ethan in person rather than to millions. "This isn't another game, this isn't more theater, this is me. Saying goodbye because I know it's coming and I deserve it." She took a long breath. The USB drive wasn't a bluff, it contains everything I promised, but after watching my children testify against me, after seeing the raids, after hearing the word monster thrown at me by strangers and family alike, I realized something. I've become the very thing I claimed to fight against, a person who used pain and lies to feel powerful. I started this to hurt Victor, to expose what I believed was a rotten system. But somewhere along the way, the revenge became the point and the truth became optional. The camera shook slightly as if her hand was trembling. "I'm turning myself in tonight. Not because I'm noble, not because I'm scared of prison, but because my children deserve to stop living in this nightmare." Sophia, Ethan, if you're watching, I'm so sorry I robbed you of a normal life I made. You question every memory we ever shared. I turned our family into a public spectacle, and for that, there are no excuses, only regret. She paused, wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, and continued, "The master file will be delivered to the FBI through my lawyer in the next hour. Unredacted, complete. No more drip feeds, no more control. I want to decide what gets seen or when. Everyone involved will face the consequences, including me, the names, the payments, the scripts, the threats. They're all there for the world to judge, but please remember one thing: not every accusation that came out of those files was false. Some of the rumors I built on were real. Some of the people I named had skeletons, some still do. I twisted facts into weapons, but the weapons were aimed at real darkness, even if my methods were unforgivable." She looked directly into the lens for what felt like an eternity, then said quietly to Victor, "You win, you get to be the victim now. The hero, the one who was wronged. I want fight the lawsuits. I want contest the divorce settlements. I want drag this out anymore. I'm done." The screen flickered and a single line of text appeared white on black: "Final file delivery confirmed, FBI field office, Palm Beach, Florida, time-stamped just minutes earlier." The video ended, no music. No dramatic cut, just abrupt silence. The internet froze for a split second, then erupted into the loudest, most chaotic reaction in years. People who had hated her for a decade were suddenly conflicted. People who had defended her were furious at what they called a cop-out hashtags, like Miranda Cave, Mirandagrats, and Justice Forthakins. Trended. Simultaneously, live streams of commentators reacting in real time hit record numbers. One emotional anchor teared up on air saying, "This is what accountability looks like: messy, painful, and long overdue." Within the hour, FBI press release confirmed they had received the drive from Miranda's attorney and were beginning forensic analysis. A spokesperson said, "We are treating this as a serious matter involving potential fraud, identity theft, and multiple counts of cyber-enabled harassment charges. Will be forthcoming as the investigation progresses." Miranda was taken into custody at approximately 11 p.m. Eastern Time at a quiet motel just outside West Palm Beach. No dramatic chase, no resistance. She walked out in handcuffs, head down, flanked by two agents. Neighbors captured shaky cell phone footage that went viral, showing her being placed gently into an SUV. One agent even appeared to shield her head. As she ducked into the car, a small but telling gesture of humanity amid the spectacle. Sophia and Ethan issued a joint statement through their father's lawyer. Our mother has finally chosen to face what she created. We are relieved. The lies are ending, but healing will take time. We ask for privacy as we process everything and begin to rebuild what was broken. Thank you to everyone who supported us through this nightmare. Your kindness has meant more than words can say. Victor followed with his own brief comment. Today marks the beginning of closure for my family and for the countless others affected by this hoax. We will cooperate fully with authorities, and we look forward to justice being served fairly and completely. The next morning, the first leaks from the master file started appearing, not from Miranda, but from official channels. Redacted versions shared with major outlets to verify authenticity. One document detailed how she had paid a former intelligence contractor to plant digital breadcrumbs, making the fake flight logs appear legitimate. Another showed correspondence with a tabloid editor who had agreed to run exclusive victim interviews for a six-figure sum in exchange for exclusivity. The revelations kept coming, but the tone had shifted from sensational outrage to somber reflection. Pundits who once screamed about elite pedophile rings now discussed media literacy, the dangers of viral misinformation, and the human cost of unchecked octala revenge. One viral op-ed titled "The Woman Who Fooled the World and Broke Her Own Heart" captured the mood perfectly. Miranda Kane didn't just lie to us, she lied to herself until the lie consumed her family, her freedom, and whatever was left of her soul. By midday, the Palm Beach mansion, where it all began, was swarmed by news crews and curious onlookers. Yellow crime scene tapes still up, boxes of evidence being loaded into vans. The house that once symbolized untouchable wealth now looked like a hollow shell, a monument to hubris. The Kane children were spotted for the first time since the arrests, leaving a private counseling center in Manhattan, Sophia wearing oversized sunglasses, holding Ethan's hand as they walked to a waiting car. No statements, no waves, just two young adults trying to reclaim some normalcy amid the chaos. Fans sent flowers, cards, messages of support pouring in from every corner of the globe. One anonymous donor started a GoFundMe for therapy and education costs for Sophia and Ethan. It raised over $2 million in 24 hours. Celebrities who had been falsely accused began quietly reaching out. Some sent private messages of thanks. Others made public donations to organizations fighting real trafficking. One former A-lister posted a simple photo of a sunrise with the caption, "New day, new truth, grateful for the light, even if it came through pain." As the week wore on, Miranda appeared briefly in federal court for an initial hearing. She pleaded not guilty to the initial charges, but her attorney indicated a plea deal was likely given the overwhelming evidence. She looked frail in her orange jumpsuit, hair tied back, no makeup. The once glamorous Avenger reduced to just another defendant in a long line of people who thought they could outsmart the system. The judge set bail at $5 million, which no one expected her to post. She remained in custody pending further proceedings. Outside the courthouse, a small crowd gathered, some holding signs that read, "Free Miranda." Others burned the files. The division remained, but the fire had dimmed into something quieter, more reflective. The world had spent years obsessed with a phantom scandal. Now it was forced to confront the very real one of a mother's descent into deception and the collateral damage left in her wake. Questions lingered. Would Miranda fully cooperate and name every accomplice with the media outlets? Face repercussions for amplifying unverified stories? Would the Kane family ever truly reconcile? Or would the scars run too deep? No one knew for sure, but one thing was certain: the Epstein files, the greatest hoax of the digital age, it finally met its end. Not with a bang, but with a mother's tearful surrender and two children's quiet walk into whatever future they could still build. The story that had gripped the planet for a decade was over, or at least the loudest chapter was closing, leaving behind lessons no one wanted to learn, but everyone needed to remember: about truth, about revenge, about family, and about the terrifying power of a single lie believed By Millions courtroom in West Palm Beach was packed wall to wall on the morning of Miranda's first full hearing, not with the usual crowd of bored locals, but with reporters, influencers, true crime podcasters, and even a few diehard fans who still wore Epstein Files truth shirts under their jackets. The air was thick with anticipation as Miranda was led in wearing a plain gray jumpsuit, wrists cuffed in front her lawyer. A sharp-suited woman in her 50s walking beside her protectively. Miranda kept her eyes down, never once looking up at the gallery where Sophia, Ethan, and Victor sat in the front row, separated by a single empty seat like a silent statement of division. The judge, a no-nonsense veteran named Harlan, read the charges. A loud wire fraud conspiracy to commit identity theft, aggravated cyber harassment, and multiple counts of defamation each. One landing like a hammer in the quiet room when he asked how she pleaded. Miranda finally lifted her head, her voice clear. But small, guilty, Your Honor, on all counts. A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom, even though most had expected it. Her lawyer immediately followed with, "We are prepared to enter into a comprehensive plea agreement in exchange for full cooperation and testimony against co-conspirators." The judge nodded, set a date for sentencing in 60 days, and remanded her back into custody, no bail. The gavel came down, and just like that, the woman who had held the world hostage with a laptop was reduced to another number in the federal system as she was let out. Miranda finally glanced toward her family. Sophia met her eyes for a split second, then looked away. Ethan stared straight ahead, face unreadable. Victor simply shook his head. Once slow and final outside the courthouse, the media frenzy was immediate. Mics thrust forward, questions shouted from every angle. Miranda Kane. "Do you regret it? Was it worth it? Will you name names?" Her lawyer stepped in front, blocking cameras. "No comment at this time," but later that afternoon, the first wave of cooperation leaks hit the wires. Miranda's attorney had already turned over redacted portions of the master file, naming 15 additional individuals who had knowingly participated. The list included the Hollywood fixer already trending, the Twitch hacker Damien, who had come forward early, a former CNN producer who resigned in disgrace that same day, a popular true crime YouTuber with over 4 million subscribers, and, shockingly, a sitting member of Congress whose chief of staff had accepted payments to leak select documents during an election cycle. The congressman issued a denial within minutes, calling it politically motivated nonsense, but the screenshots were damning. Wire transfers, chat logs, even a selfie of him and Miranda at a DC fundraiser years earlier captioned, "Let's make some noise." The fallout was swift: resignations, apologies, deleted tweets, accounts going private. The YouTuber in question posted a tearful video. "I thought I was exposing truth. I was wrong. I was used. I'm stepping away from the internet indefinitely. Please forgive me. If I hurt anyone." The congressman's district office was picketed by constituents demanding answers. His approval rating tanked overnight. Sophia and Ethan, meanwhile, had started speaking publicly again, but carefully this time. In a joint interview with a major network, they sat side by side on a neutral gray couch. Sophia speaking first: "We didn't do this for revenge or fame. We did it because the lie had grown too big. It was suffocating everyone, including us." Ethan nodded, adding, "Our mom wasn't always like this. The divorce broke something in her, and instead of healing, she chose destruction. We still love her. But love doesn't mean silence. It means holding people accountable, even when it's family." The interviewer asked about forgiveness. Sophia hesitated, then said, "Maybe someday, when the dust settles, when people aren't still hurting because of what she did." Ethan was more direct. "Right now, forgiveness feels it's impossible, but we're working on healing ourselves first." The interview ended with them thanking supporters and announcing they were starting a small foundation focused on digital literacy and combating online misinformation. The first donation came from an unexpected source: an anonymous former A-lister who had been falsely accused years earlier. The check was for $1 million with a note simply read, "Thank you for ending the nightmare." As weeks turned into months, the legal machinery ground forward. Miranda cooperated, fully testifying in closed sessions, detailing how she had built the hoax step by step, who she paid, how she laundered the money through shell accounts, even how she had manipulated search algorithms to keep the story trending for years. Prosecutors used her testimony to secure indictments against 8 of her accomplices, including the fixer, the producer, and the YouTuber. Damien received a reduced sentence for early cooperation and entered witness protection. The congressman wasn't so lucky. He lost his primary and faces his own trial. Next year's sentencing day for Miranda arrived on a crisp fall morning. The courtroom was quieter this time, fewer cameras, more somber faces. She stood when called, wearing a simple navy dress provided by her lawyer, her hair neatly braided looking, almost like the woman she had been before the obsession began. The judge asked if she had anything to say. She did. "I'm not going to make excuses today. She began. My actions caused immeasurable harm to innocent people, to my children most of all. 2. Public trust in information itself. I let anger and hurt turn me into someone I don't recognize, and for that I am truly sorry. I accept whatever sentence the court deems appropriate, and I hope that, by facing this fully, I can begin to make some small amends." She sat down, tears streaming, but no dramatic sobs. Just quiet acceptance. The judge spoke for several minutes, acknowledging the unprecedented scale of the deception, the erosion of trust, the personal devastation to the Kane family. Then he delivered the sentence: 22 years in federal prison with possibility of parole after 12 credit given for substantial assistance and acceptance of responsibility. Miranda nodded once, as if she had expected it, maybe even welcomed it. As she was led away this time, she turned fully toward her children, mouthed the words, "I love you, Sophia," covered her mouth. Ethan looked down, but a single tear escaped. Victor placed a hand on each of their shoulders, the first physical contact between the 3 of them in public since the scandal broke. Outside supporters and detractors clashed briefly in shouting matches, but the energy had faded. The spectacle was over. The hoax had been dismantled piece by piece in the months that followed. Life slowly normalized for the Kanes. Sophia enrolled in college, studying journalism with a focus on fact-checking. Ethan started a tech startup building tools to detect deepfakes and manipulated metadata. They both attended family therapy sessions, sometimes with Victor, sometimes alone. Miranda began serving her time at a low-security facility in Florida. She writes letters to her children every week. No pressure to respond, just small updates about prison life, book club, gardening classes, apologies that never quite land but keep coming. The world moved on to new scandals, new hoaxes, new obsessions, but the Epstein files hoax left scars. Permanent ones on media credibility, on public discourse, on one fractured family. Yet in the quiet aftermath, something unexpected happened. Healing slow, tentative, but real. Sophia and Ethan started visiting their mother once a month at first, awkward, stilted conversations through glass, then longer talks about normal things, school friends, memories. That Warren-tainted Victor even joined once, sitting silently while his ex-wife and children talked. The first crack in the wall that might one day become a door. The story that began with revenge ended not in triumph or total destruction, but in the messy, imperfect work of accountability, forgiveness, and starting over. Because sometimes the biggest lies don't just fool the world, they fool the person telling them until the truth finally forces its way back in. And when it does, the reckoning isn't loud or cinematic. It's quiet, human, and painfully real. The end of the greatest fabricated scandal of our time wasn't a bang. It was a whisper of sorry and the faint hope that even after everything, some things can still be mended. Story of the Epstein files hoax didn't end neatly in that courtroom with a gavel and a sentence. It lingered like smoke after a fire, spreading into quiet corners of people's lives long after the headlines faded. Miranda Kane began her sentence quietly, transferring to a medium security facility in South Carolina after a few months where she reportedly joined a writing group, ironically enough penning short stories. about redemption and second chances. She stopped trying to contact the media or post cryptic messages. Her lawyer released one final statement on her behalf. Miranda has accepted her fate and is focused on personal growth. She asks only that the public allow her children the space to live without the shadow of this chapter hanging over them. Sophia thrived in her journalism program, publishing her first major piece, an in-depth look at how viral misinformation destroys families. It went viral for all the right reasons, earning praise from fact-checking organizations and even a mention in a Pulitzer panel discussion. Ethan scaled his startup, landing seed funding from tech investors who admired his personal story. The company's first product, an AI-powered tool that flags manipulated metadata in documents, launched to quiet acclaim, with download spiking after a feature on a late-night tech show. Victor sold the Palm Beach mansion at a significant loss. The buyer, a developer who planned to turn it into luxury condos. The proceeds went into a trust for Sophia and Ethan. Labeled simply, Family Recovery Fund. Years passed. The world found new obsessions, new scandals to dissect, but every so often someone would dig up an old thread or post, a throwback meme about the greatest lie ever told, and the conversation would flare up again. Was Miranda a villain, a misguided crusader, or just a broken woman who let pain turn her into splinty? A weapon? The answers varied depending on who you asked, but one thing stayed consistent. The Kane family never fully reunited in the public eye. There were no tearful reunion specials, no Christmas photos leaked to tabloids, yet small signs emerged. Sophia mentioned in a podcast interview that she and her mother exchanged letters regularly. Nothing dramatic, just updates about life, the weather books they'd read. Ethan once posted a photo of a handmade card on his private Instagram story, a Mother's Day note from Miranda. Simple, happy Mother's Day, love, Mom. The post was quickly deleted, but not before screenshots circulated. Fans called it bittersweet. The family remained divided in many ways, trust fractured beyond full repair, but the hatred had softened into something more manageable: distance, understanding that some wounds scar over but never disappear completely. In the end, the Epstein files became a cautionary tale taught in media ethics classes, referenced in documentaries about disinformation, and whispered about at dinner tables when someone says, "Remember that one huge story?" That turned out to be fake, the hoax that fooled presidents, actors, journalists, and everyday people alike, proved that one person's grudge, combined with the unstoppable machinery of the internet, could rewrite reality for a decade before reality finally fought back and won. The greatest fabricated scandal didn't end with fireworks or total forgiveness. It ended the way most real stories do, quietly, imperfectly, with people picking up the pieces, learning to live alongside the damage, and hoping that time might one day dull the sharpest edges of betrayal. What do you think about this wild ride? Was Miranda a monster, a genius, or just tragically human? Drop your hottest take in the comments below. Did the family deserve more sympathy or less? Do you believe some of the original rumors still hold water, even after all this, or was it smoke and mirrors from start to finish? Smash that like button if this drama had you glued to your screen, and if you want more insane, fabricated reality TV style breakdowns, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next explosion. Also, share this video with that one friend who's still convinced the elites run everything, because, trust me, they'll have opinions. I'll be reading every comment and replying to as many as I can, so tell me, right? Now, in the comments, what part of this twisted tale shocked you the most? Was it the USB drop, the kids turning on their mom, Miranda's final tearful video, or something else entirely? Let's get the conversation going, because this story might be over, but the fallout, the debates, the what-ifs, they're just getting started. I'll see you in the next one. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and I'll catch you soon.